Hello there, welcome to Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with today's fountain pen review, this Gravitas Vac-Filler made from a material called ULTEM. When I was in a Zoom call with Joost Appelbaum to record my first episode as a guest host on Joost Appelbaum Bites back in June, before we started recording, Joost said there were some people in his studio who wanted to say hi to me. And in poked a head which said, "Hello, Doug," in a thick Irish brogue. It was none other than Ben Walsh of Gravitas Pens. Well, I was thrilled. I told him I was a big fan of his pens and had wanted one for the longest time. He said, "Shoot me an email." Well, I was very excited and sent Ben an email asking for one of his most interesting pens, the stainless steel pocket pen with a number 8 size steel nib from Jinhao. Ben was generous enough to send me one to review, but as you'll see in the unboxing, he also sent me his new vacuum filler made in ULTEM, as well as a really cool travel pen called the Quark Up. I'll review the pocket and the Quark pens soon, but let's first take a look at this fascinating new vacuum filler from Gravitas Pens right now. But let's get to the unboxing. First, I was surprised by a package from Ireland. You may have seen that I was a guest podcast co-host with Joost Appelbaum on Appelbaum Bites. And during the first, or just before the first broadcast that I did, it was just after the Dutch Pen Show, and a couple of people poked their heads into the camera behind Joost to say hi, and one of them was Ben Walsh of Gravitas Pens, and I was all excited to meet him. I said, "I love your pens, I haven't got one." So he said, "Give me your address and I'll send you one." So this was my surprise today. He not only sent me one pen, he sent me a couple of pens, 3 pens, with a bunch of swag as well. Get everything out of the bag. So we're going to get to this in a minute. This is really exciting. These 2 pens he sent me with lovely pen sleeves with his logo on them. Am I the right way up? Gravitas. There we go. Gravitas Pens. So there's 2 exciting pens right there. A Gravitas pen cleaning cloth and a card from Gravitas and Ben Walsh's addresses. Please take a look at his website. His pens are incredible, and I haven't even touched this one yet. Well, I touched it briefly. Feel which one's which. Okay. This is the one that I asked for, and you have to sort of coax it out. Come on, Gravitas. You can do it. Come on. Here it goes. It's peeking. And there it is. Look at this, folks. This is stainless steel. Has the Gravitas logo right there. A little flat spot so it doesn't roll off your desk. But this is a pocket pen. And there it is. And I asked specifically for a number 8 Jinhao nib. Look at that. Wow, that's a big nib on a small pen. And I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but there's very fine lines ground into that section. So it's grippy. Very nice pen. Beautiful. I first saw these on Doodlebud's YouTube channel, and I immediately put one in my cart, but Ben sent me this one. Isn't that great? But he didn't stop there. No. He sent another one. Ben, thank you. Oh my God. And this one really excited me because I got these out of the mailbox just before we were taking off for Bragg Creek, so I haven't had a chance to really look at it. But I don't even know what model this is. I will find all that out in the review. This is a vacuum filler, and I just briefly had a chance to give it a try. Just open it up. Lovely, thick, milk bottle shape section, medium steel nib. Look at that posting. Oh my God. And it's a vacuum filler. One of my favorites, right? A vacuum filler. Just so incredibly balanced in the hand. So this is going to get its own review all by itself. So is that one. But not done yet, Ben. he sent this. I thought, well, what's this? It's a lanyard, a keychain, and it's got to be accessories or something. Maybe there's something silly inside here. And so I opened that up, and out slides something else that's stainless steel. And I thought, what does that hold, nibs? Well, it does hold a nib. Look at this. It is a fountain pen that screws to post, has a number 6 size steel nib. Again, that section has these ribbed lines on it, lots of grip, and it's very, very light. This is a travel pen, and I assumed it takes cartridges. And so I thought, well, what's this other thing on the lanyard here, on the keychain? Well, of course, it's cartridges. So that's just very, very clever. Very, very clever. I think maybe he liked the idea of walking around a pen show with a pen at the ready, and so he designed himself this little carry tube and this little lanyard with the ink cartridges. You put that around your wrist and you're off getting more pens at the pen show. So thank you very much, Ben. Look forward to the reviews on all of this stuff from Gravitas Pens. I'll show the parts and features of this pen, some size comparisons and measurements, and then provide a writing sample. After the writing sample, please stay tuned as I'll talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about this fountain pen. But first, and because I know my audience lives vicariously through my channel, I thought I would share this. Just came in the mail today, my August 2023 copy of Pen World magazine, and you can get your own copy of this. Follow the link in the description below, and you can get your own subscription to this marvelous magazine. And of course, there's a couple of menus on the cover. Gorgeous. And the glossy pages are just full of lots of juicy photos of gorgeous, gorgeous fountain pens. There's a Leonardo in black ebonite with an Italian guilloche pattern on it. Beautiful. Of course, you can get digital copies of this magazine as well. This particular issue has the winners of the Reader's Choice Awards, so don't forget to take a look at that. Some very interesting articles as well. But to the pen at hand. In the thumbnail of this video, I called the Gravitas vacuum filler the ultimate vac filler. Forgive the clickbait, but it's actually true. This fountain pen is made from a plastic known as ULTEM. And ULTEM is a semi-transparent high-strength plastic material and is a polyethermide, or PEI. It is an amber to transparent thermoplastic with characteristics similar to the related plastic PEEK. We previously saw PEEK with this Eureka fountain pen in the PEEK material, and you can see that review by clicking right up here. The difference is ULTEM is transparent and ranges from this transparent amber color to transparent clear. PEI can be used in injection molding, but this pen is turned from a solid rod. It has high impact strength and I suspect resists scuffing better than acrylic. I've had this pen for about 2 months now and I've been using it regularly. I actually traveled to Ontario and back with it as well and used it as my everyday writer, and I don't see any scuffing in the material by the naked eye. Under my loupe I can see some, but not at first glance at all. Let's compare that to this Peniter Modern Times, which I've had exactly the same amount of time and has the same amount of use and wear. With the naked eye, you can see, especially on the underside of this pen, a good amount of scuffing, which you can expect from relatively softer injection molded plastics. And the metal parts at the section and the blind cap are made of grade 5 titanium, and the vacuum piston rod and parts are 304 stainless steel. The whole pen weighs in at 28.5 grams empty and has a capacity of 2.5 milliliters with 2 ink chambers. The main ink chamber here and a smaller ink chamber just above the barrel. And this forward ink chamber has a capacity of 0.7 milliliters, which is around the capacity of a standard converter. and it's sealed when the blind cap is screwed shut to prevent ink spilling out the front because of air pressure or temperature changes. People get their knickers in a twist about vacuum fillers, claiming they are difficult to fill and a pain in the patoot because you have to open them to write. I think that's a load of hooey. I'll show you how to fill the vacuum filler later in the video in a chapter called How to Fill the Vacuum Filler. Easy enough. But let's see how easy they are to use. This pen is completely full of ink. The forward ink reservoir has some ink in it, as you can see by the tilting the pen back and forth. If your pen is going to change in elevation, like on an aircraft or driving into the mountains, or you expect it to get bounced around or be subjected to temperature changes, just open the blind cap seal to unseal the forward ink reservoir, turn the pen with the nib up, and tap it a couple of times to empty that ink chamber. Then close the blind cap. Simple, and now it's ready for anything and will not give you inky surprises. When you want to write, open the blind cap, turn the nib down and give it a couple of taps, and then close the blind cap back down again. Now the reservoir is completely full of ink and you're ready to write, and you have the same ink capacity available as your cartridge converter pen. I can't see how this is more inconvenient than filling your converter pen each time you run through 0.7 milliliters of ink, or replacing a standard international cartridge. You have to open the pen to do those things, and I'll demonstrate all of that again in real time and time myself. I'll start with the forward ink reservoir empty. As you can see, it is empty. Now let's start the clock. "11 seconds. And now when I've finished writing, let's call it 11 seconds again. Now let's do some math, because math is fun. The small ink chamber is 0.7 milliliters in capacity, so let's divide that into the total capacity of the pen, which is 2.5 milliliters. That means we can fill the small ink chamber 3.57 times. Let's multiply the 11 seconds it takes to fill the small ink chamber by the capacity of the pen. 11 times 3.57 is 39.3 seconds. Let's call it 40 seconds. Now let's see how long it takes to uncap and refill a cartridge converter pen like this Moonman M800. And let's start the clock. And let's call that 30 seconds, even without closing the ink. And let's measure that by the number of refills we'd need for the converter to reach 2.5 milliliters. So 30 times 3.57 is 107 seconds. So let's call that 1 minute and 40 seconds. Think of how much you can accomplish in life with that extra minute and a half.
Tell him I'm going to the back seat of my car with a woman I love, and I won't be back for 10 minutes.
Now let's look at this pen. From the top we see the conical turned finial, and the cap curves up and there is no clip. Through the transparent amber ULTEM plastic you can see the big Gravitas nib, but also how the section meets up with that ledge milled into it to seal the nib from evaporation. This works very well because in 2 months of use it has never hard started on me once. There's a small step down to the barrel, the top of which is titanium, and the transparent barrel tapers all the way down to a titanium ring, and then the transparent ULTEM blind cap ends with a matching conical point. The cap unscrews with 1 and 2 full rotations to reveal the long milk bottle shaped section and the number 6 size steel nib and black plastic feed. The nib is laser engraved with the Gravitas logo and an M for medium. The nib and feed are part of an assembly that unscrews for replacement or maintenance. The Gravitas website reminds you to put silicone grease on the threads of the nib unit to avoid ink leaks if you remove the nib unit. I would remind you not to get any of that silicone grease on the back of the nib unit as well, as that will inhibit ink flow. The section is not removable, and those titanium threads right there are smooth, not sharp at all. I'm wary of metal threads meshing with plastic threads on a cap, but there's been no sign of any wear. This might have to do with the ultra hard nature of this ULTEM material. The cap posts deeply and securely and doesn't alter the balance of the pen at all, being very light at only 4.7 grams. All of the weight in this pen is in the body, which right now, full of ink, weighs 26 grams. In between the smooth, thick, long section and the heft of the titanium and steel vacuum piston rod, this pen is just in exquisite balance. I'm sure Ben worked on the weight distribution of this pen in the hand because it's just superb. In fact, regardless of any other features, how this pen feels in the hand is its single greatest attribute. I just had lunch with a university colleague who is a big fountain pen fan, and I showed him 12 pens. I showed him 3 vintage, 4 Chinese, a Delta, 2 Piniters, and a Gravitas steel pocket pen, and this Gravitas vacuum filler. The moment he held and wrote with the ULTEM Vac-Filler, he lit up and immediately wanted to buy it from me. I pointed him to the Gravitas website where you can get this pen or the clear ULTEM model for 180 euros to 200 euros, which is around $195 US. It's available with an Ultraflex titanium nib and polymer feed for an extra 15 euros, or with steel nibs in EF, F, and medium, or 14 karat gold nibs in EF, F, M, B, and double broad for an extra 150 euros. Now I'll show you how to fill this vac filler. So here we are, relatively empty of ink. We unscrew the blind cap and retract the piston rod. Put the nib down into the ink, submerge it up to the section. Sometimes you have to tilt your ink bottle to get that feed completely submerged in the ink, and you press it down and it sucks up ink. Now you'll only get half to a quarter of a fill the first time. So turn the nib back up, retract that rod again, keep your tissue near the nib, and push that piston back up again until that ink gets up into the near the section. You're pushing out all of that air, and then holding that piston from bouncing back, put it back in the ink and push it again, and you get a fairly full fill of ink that way. Now let's look at some size comparisons. And here is the Gravitas ULTEM Vac Filler with a Eureka Peak cartridge filler, a Pen BBS 456 vacuum filler, an Asvine 126 vacuum filler, and a Narwhal Original Plus vacuum filler. Let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. The Gravitas, the Pen BBS, and the Asvine all post very nicely, whereas the Eureka and the Narwhal don't post very well at all, and the Narwhal Original Plus posts right on top of that blind cap. Now let's look at them unposted, and here they are unposted, and these are all number 6 size steel nibs. And now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and this is the Gravitas ULTEM Vac Filler. And it has a number 6 size steel medium nib. Let's check the wetness. It's decently wet and really smooth. Gravitas Pens is a relatively small operation, so I have no doubt that they check these nibs rigorously. I'm not sure whether it's a Jovo or a Bach, but I assume it's one of the two. I'm guessing a Jovo. And as I say, I've been writing with this for a couple of months now. Took it on my travels and wrote in my journal every day while I was traveling, and I'm really loving this pen. And the ink I have in it is diamine or diamine, depending on your accent, ancient copper, and it's one of my favorite inks. Beautiful shading, reddish brown, and a perfect match for this amber colored ULTEM plastic. As to line variation, you can squeeze a little bit out of it, but it's a steel nib and it's relatively stiff, so don't expect to flex it. And the line this nib makes, it's a medium. Let's check it against our Richard Binder line width chart, and it's somewhere between 0.5 and 0.6 millimeters in thickness, which makes it fine to medium, Western, or a medium Japanese width nib. And for a quote, and for some reverse writing. It's very smooth in reverse, very fine line. So for those of you that like to flip your nib to do sketching or whatever to get a different line width, that works very nicely. And for some quick writing, no issues whatsoever, and I've had no issues at all with this pen for the last 2 months. So what do I like and what do I not like about this fountain pen? A number of months ago I did a shootout of vacuum fillers and created a spreadsheet that analyzed the objective data of the pens in a number of different categories in order to rank them. Pretty much tied for first place were the Pen BBS 456, a Wing Sung 699, and the Asvine V126 vac fillers. This Gravitas came in third on that list, mostly because of the price. The other three pens were in the $30 to $50 range, and this Gravitas is more than $100 more expensive. In the hand, however, this pen beats my personal favorite, the Pen BBS 456, for comfort. And that's saying something. I love the Pen BBS 456. This thick and curvy section is just marvelous, and the balance of this pen, posted or unposted, is just indescribable. You have to feel it. I wasn't surprised at all at Jim's reaction to the pen, which was, I have to have this. The large ink capacity, the beautiful section, the smooth number 6 size nib, and the titanium accents make this an incredible fountain pen. The durable, almost scratch-free ULTEM material makes the pen an easy decision as an everyday carry pen. There is no clip for those that need a clip, and the price is really pushing the boundary for a steel nib fountain pen. But this isn't a mass-produced pen. These are designed and made with extreme attention to detail by a small, independent fountain pen maker, Ben Walsh, out of Ireland. And the quality shows. You know you're getting your money's worth, and Ben stands behind his products 100%. So thanks go out to Ben Walsh of Gravitas Pens for providing this pen for review. And I will be reviewing the other two pens Ben provided, the stainless steel pocket pen and this titanium cork up very soon. And there you have it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And you can join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, and sneak peek unboxing videos as well. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote. Hi, Ben.
I made this.